Hello all, it's Dr. Boney, also known as Dr. B. This is just a check-in and go over a little bit about the exam since you haven't seen one yet. I'd like to give you a little bit of information about it. First things first, most of you have been trucking along pretty well, getting most of your work done in exam one, and again, right down the line. Some of you have yet to do much of anything, so hopefully you can do that next couple of days. As you know, the exam is due to be completed um, June 4th at 11:59, so you need to do it before then, as well as all the other work. Um, there's also a few of you who have yet under the week 0 to do the proctoring enabled answer this one question by 528. Please do this. It takes about 4 minutes, and it just makes sure that all of your proctoring software is going to be working for the exam. You don't want to download that during the exam and have an issue. That's not going to happen. That will not be acceptable if you wait till then and have an issue and haven't yet tried this. So please do that. Awesome. Second thing is I finally got the gradebook fixed. The issue had to do with when the course was copied over. So I spent some time reorganizing the entire gradebook. Everything should be correct. Everything is being carried over properly. So thank you for your patience with that. Wasted a good 4 hours yesterday, but I shouldn't say wasted, used. Everything is working out, so that's good. All right, so in terms of what you're going to do, whenever you're ready to take the exam, obviously, you're going to go down here, and you're going to click on exam 1, and basically it's going to look something like this. Once you end up getting into it, looks kind of like the quiz. You basically take it the same way. Understand about the proctoring software. The proctoring software will be a computer recording you via the webcam. There's no human on the other end. You will not be allowed to copy pastes, change browsers, have second windows open, anything like that. You don't really need any of that. All you need is a keyboard, your brain, and a mouse. So it will alert me if there's any abnormalities, like you staring at your stomach, or what might look like a phone in your lap, or anything like that. Also, by the way, it does do a key collect. So in other words, I have had only one student do this in a few years, so please don't do what I'm going to tell you, but this student basically told me that something happened, that their exam closed and they had to restart it. The problem with that is that I can see every keystroke that you make. And this student actually on purpose tried to exit the exam, and the exam said, "Are you sure by hitting this button you are going to exit the exam?" And the student said yes, and then got out of the exam and then came back in about 4 or 5 minutes later, in all likelihood probably looking up an answer to a question. So do not do that. That's a great way to fail the course. The best way to pass the test is to actually study for the exam. So with the proctoring software, you just take the exam like you would if you were in front of a teacher. I would actually recommend a quiet place. You know that the exam is coming. You've known about it for a while. If it's going to be a bunch of screaming children around, it's probably not the place to take it. You probably want to do it somewhere else. So on that note, it's going to look something like this. And let me give you an example of a couple of the questions that you might see, just so you kind of get a sense of what it's going to look like. This might be your number 15. It might not be your number 15. It might not be what you say, but this is kind of what you're going to see, very similar to the quizzes. Something like this: when assigning a scientific name to an organism, blah, 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 blah. And of course, I'm not going to give you the answer, but I want you to kind of see what you're going to get, and your job would be to just choose the correct answer from there. There's also a few questions that are going to look like this. They are a little bit longer, and they're tied together, so I'm not going to show you the actual question, but it's basically a small paragraph. Since the vast majority of you are going to be in a nursing school, the NCLEX is the test that you take to become a nurse, and you will be doing a lot of questions in that format, so that's why we're also preparing you as well for that in the microbiology realm. So there'll be a small story about, Jonathan is a 12-year-old so-and-so and weighs this and was admitted to a hospital for that. It'll all relate to everything that you've been learning and everything that you've been studying. So I want to give you kind of a sense of that. And there will be a few different questions related to this story. All right. So how do you know what to study for what's actually going to be on the exam? I mean, it would be one thing to just say everything, but that's a lot. But the major part would be the worksheets. And these are designed um, by the person that wrote this course to align specifically to that. And so I'm going to show you an example of a couple of them. So this would be the one for exam one, or I should say chapter one. There's also one for chapter two. So these are things that definitely would help. They are a vast majority of the fundamental knowledge of information that you would need. They also go along with your other assignments as well, which are all preparation. And finally, how long is the exam? It's around 55-ish questions, almost all multiple choice. How long do you get? As far as the policy of the course, that the way they set it up, you get as long as you want. I would say most students probably finish in about 45 minutes to an hour, but that's one of the concessions they give you. So on that note, I hope I have been able to help. And if you have any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, good luck. And I will also open the exam 2 content on June 4th, the day of the first exam.